Hello and welcome to the week ahead, where we check out Monday's action and see what that means for the rest of the week. If that's what you're into, stick around. All right, what an interesting start to the week. We got some news on Friday afternoon that Moody's had downgraded the credit rating of the United States government, and that caused a little bit of a dip after hours. And even going into today, we started at the lows of the today, and we rallied all the way up to the highs. It was a pretty decent day. Still expecting a decline, but just interesting action all around. And I think, maybe going into the rest of the week, we should still see that pullback that we've been expecting for a little while because we are pretty extended. So let's go over to the market monitor and see what it has to say. The market monitor is a collection of data that I've taken over time. That combined with established strategies by William O'Neill, Richard Wyckoff, and Stan Weinstein, I could use it to peer into the market to see where we're at in the cycle and where we could be going. I'm going to use this data to cross-reference the averages. So if this data is above average or below average, that should tell us something about where we're going and where we've been. By knowing that, we could set an expectation, and if that expectation is met or not met, we can make decisions based on that. And that's why the market monitor is a crucial part of my investing process. And I hope you guys can get a lot out of this segment. And if you want to know how the market monitor works, I'll link a video in the description below. It explains everything. Cheers. So right now we're on day 20 of this rally. And on average, during a rally, every day, we should get 0.3%. So if you multiply that out, we should, on average, by day 20, be up about 5.8, 6%. Currently, this market's sitting at about 15%. So we are well above average by the tune of like 2x. And also day 20, average rally lasts about 13 days. Pretty stretched by every kind of metric. So, a pullback is within the cards. And that's what the market monitor has to say. Let's get into the market and maybe some insights on the portfolio, see what's setting up going into the end of the week. Let's go check out the portfolio. For those of you who don't know, I've been an investor for over 10 years and a full-time swing trader for the last 5. In August of 2024, I welcomed my first child into the world. To build his financial foundation, I funded a $100,000 account for him, which I'm growing using a personalized 60-40 portfolio approach. This channel will document that journey. My goal is to create educational content so that one day my son can learn how I grew his account and apply it himself one day. To follow the portfolio's every move, check the link in the description below. I attach it to a website that tracks every trade. Drop your questions or thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys along the way. Cheers. So portfolios sitting at, portfolio was up decently today. It's kind of flat. This is still a little bit wrong. Portfolio is probably sitting about 4 or 5% up on the year. We're pretty happy with that. We should probably see some of the stuff in the portfolio kind of pull back, and the calls that we've sold on some of the positions start to generate some income for us, going into the end of the month and going into June. That's kind of the expectation. But let's check out what moved a lot today. I think the biggest move we had today was this ZIM. ZIM kind of had earnings and they beat. It's looking nice for that shipping stock. We'll go over that later in the segment, just about the TA on that stock and where we think that one's going. That thing yields a lot. It's like a 70% yield, and the stock is going up like 10%. The stock is up 70%, just the stock alone in the last month, and it yield. So the stock is up about 70% in the last month or so, and it yields 70%. This is a massive stock, doing really well. We had a nice move in Moderna. I've been waiting for this one. I was debating kind of selling this because it wasn't doing anything, but we got some good news out of NVAX. FDA approved one of their drugs, and it's moving up nicely. I think that will provide a bid for Moderna. Since this thing's like trading below cash, this is a pretty good opportunity. What else? This FTAI is going up nicely. And then the Chinese stuff and the emerging market stuff got a bid today. That's pretty nice. And then losers, Tesla, Tempest, some of the U.S. tech stocks were down today. Yeah, I mean, we have some events coming up. I mean, we're just going to get a lot of dividends going into the end of the month. Yeah, so that's kind of the update on the portfolio. Let's check out, just the TA of some of the stocks in the portfolio and the market. All right, so what you're checking out here is ZIM, or ZIM Integrated Shipping. So we had that earnings release, gapped up. It was up a lot today, but I mean, I think this yearly moving average is gonna be some trouble for the stock. A lot of supply came in today. I think a lot of people sold today, and it should go sideways. We sold the $20 calls on this one, I mean, longer term, if I can actually change this color here, or actually I'll change that to green. Longer term, this looks like a nice little setup here where it undercut the structure, and now it's reclaiming. If this thing just holds above this level, I'd be really bullish on the stock. I mean, and then this is the high end of the range. So we're kind of stuck inside the range here. But if it can kind of bounce and then do one of these things, I mean, this thing does yield 70%, so there's going to be another gap down. So we'll have to see. Yeah, a lot of supply coming in here. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes down. Maybe another 10% from here. Yeah, this thing needs to come back down and maybe test this quarterly moving average. What else? I think that's the most impressive mover of the day. Oh, Moderna. We can check on Moderna. Yeah, Moderna's doing okay. I mean, it's we were thinking that it was going to bounce off of this moving average here, or sorry, this structure here, and yeah, it's doing exactly that. And since it's bouncing there, I mean, it gives us a target of, I think, $35. This thing can get going here. That'd be a logical place for it to start bouncing. We're starting to see some volume come into this. Yeah, I mean, it's some good news in the sector. So things are looking good on that front as well. And then what else do we look at? Oh, I mean, in the other account, we could all talk about UNH. This thing is, we made a nice play, but this isn't in the public account, but made a nice play on that. Yeah, I think we got the bottom there, like 155. It's already up 25% on that one. That was a really good one. Also looking at Innodata was moving pretty nice today. It kind of bucked the trend of the U.S. tech stocks. So perhaps going into this week, some other things pull back. Maybe this thing actually, gets above the yearly moving average and starts to make a nice move here. Because you could see a lot of demand came in here on that earnings day when it dumped and it kind of wicked off this level. That's really bullish right here. If it can get above 41, that would be something really nice. Okay, so let's check out the market and see what's going on. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, we kind of gap down. I mean, there's been a lot of this, okay, where we gap down, go down in the morning, and then kind of rally towards the end of the day. Still think it's a pretty easy bet to make that this thing's going to pull back or go sideways and let these moving averages catch up. We're pretty far from all the moving averages, so it's just, yeah, that's where I think the market's going to go. I mean, our analog for COVID is still kind of intact, where the market is going to go sideways for a little while. Just going into the end of the month and going to the next month. All right, so that's an easy week ahead update. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the midweek market update. Cheers.